I'm going to introduce you now to Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. Now this, of course, was set in the Arctic, and we had to settle, unfortunately, for South Africa. Reason being, we were originally to shoot in Bulgaria, but in fact, Bulgaria was over the top Arctic in that they had had so much snow that year that it was impossible to get some of our equipment into the areas in which we wanted to shoot. So what happened? South African sand dunes stood in for snow. In that first scene, a very snowy scene, those were actually shot on sand dunes. Miracles of modern cinematography. The reason we are in this, we're in the Arctic, is we thought, first of all, we wanted to get out of the desert areas for the first time, warm climates, see what happened if we took Tremors to a different part of the world. And what made this work is these graboids that were discovered in these northern latitudes had been released because of global warming. Global warming had melted the permafrost, and where these dreadful little animals have been encased for millennia. So suddenly there's, you see, another problem with global warming we never thought about, right? Graboids. So, this begins back in Perfection, where Bert unfortunately has had trouble with the tax man who have put Liam, and I think they padlocked his, as I recall now, padlocked his compound. So, is he a man who pays his taxes? Of course not. He doesn't, he lives in his own country as far as he's concerned. So they've taken his place, and he's living in the back of Chang's Market, where he's now operating the place with some of his own graboid-themed merchandise. In walks Jamie Kennedy, his son, with whom he has a kind of on and off relationship. And the son has, Bert thinks of him as not a very disciplined character, and not worthy of his place as his son. But we are talked into going into South Africa. Sorry, back to the Arctic. South Africa, standing into the Arctic. We're talked into going back to the Arctic because Bert, bless his heart, for all his toughness, has a warm heart for anybody who's under attack. And so he will always come to the aid of somebody who needs it. Why? Well, because nobody else knows how to do it. Everybody else are jerks, and Bert knows he's the best. So he can't resist. And there's something I've always liked about this character too. Even when he warns people, be careful of these things. Even when they don't listen to him and they get in trouble, Bert is noble enough to say, I will come rescue you idiots, even though you didn't listen. So it's one of the things I've always loved about him. There's a kind of nobility about the fact that he will come to your aid, even if you're completely screwed up, even if you've ignored everyone. I like that about this guy. There's a kind of nobility about him. So once again, Travis, played by Jamie Kennedy, my son, we run off to the Arctic, and of course, the Arctic being South Africa, is surrounded by another group of great South African actors. Tanya van Graan, Kirshan Nadu, Jamie Lee Money, who in this case plays the daughter of Valentine McKee, right? Kevin Bacon in the first one, and Rhonda LeBeck. Small world, isn't it? So she is there, following her mother's. If you recall, Rhonda, the original piece, was a seismologist, and her daughter's doing the same sort of thing in the world of science, and that's why she's up in this lab in northern climes. This piece has another great challenge for Bert: mortality itself. It turns out in the course of this piece, he is found to have been infected with a graboid parasite, probably concocted when he was in the belly of the beast in Tremors 2. Anyway, he's carrying this fatal disease in front of him, which can, inside him, which can only be cured by and treated with the antibodies taken from a live graboid. See the problem here? Getting antibodies from a live graboid. They are killers, and they get close to one is a problem. I must say, I mentioned in, I think, Tremors 5, I broke a couple ribs. In Tremors 6, within a day or two of being on set, I broke a tooth. Terrible and embarrassing for a guy who's around guns. I remember taking a gun and bringing it up to my face, and the scope caught one of these teeth, broke it. I had to go to the producer and say, fortunately, at the end of the day of that shooting, it was only the first or second day of shooting, I said, we have a problem. Sugar in my mouth. I was rushed off to a dentist and spent the next 4 or 5 hours in a dentist chair, getting a beautiful new tooth fixed in Johannesburg to get me out of this jam. It was a real pain. And I'm going to tell you, one of the things you don't want to do as an actor is get in the way of the work. You don't want to be that squeaky wheel. Who else? Some enjoy it. I don't. I want to be a team player, right? So you don't want to be that guy who says, we have to stop because I've hurt myself. You want to keep the show rolling ahead. Some people still ask me, what was I thinking in Tremors? One, when that graboid comes through the wall of the basement, full-size graboid, and Reba McEntire in that basement. My answer is always, I was scared to death that if I made a mistake, they would have to shoot this thing all over again. They had cameras shooting from every different direction, and this was something, if that thing coming through that wall had to be shot once, and shot well, or it would take them another day to set up the entire set. So you'd lose an entire day, maybe more. It was a very complex thing, so all I kept thinking is, Michael, don't screw this up. Don't be the one to cause a problem. So, in that same respect, I felt terrible about this broken tooth, but we got it fixed. Several hours in the dentist chair, and I was back for the next day of work. The first day of filming was January 17th, 2017, which was just a few short months since my beloved Chicago Cubs, I'm a Chicagoan by birth, had won the World Series after a dry 108 years. They won in October of 2016, and I went to the producers, Universal, and said, I gotta wear a Cubs hat. I'm tired of the Atlanta Hawks. I know you all love it, but I'm a Cubby at heart, so I gotta do this. So that's where this came from. By the way, a lot of people may not know the original concept for this piece was to have Rhonda LeBeck, the love interest in the first one, played by Finn Carter, as the person I met, still as a seismologist, the person I met in this northern regions, but she was unavailable, and so that character, for whom the first drafts of the script were written, became Rhonda LeBeck's daughter instead, because Finn was unavailable. So it was directed once again by Tremors 5 director, Don Michael Paul, and so I ask you all to please enjoy Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. Go Cubbies.